A short time ago. Well, let's take you to Washington, D.C. and talk to Alexandra Bell from the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, who is there. Alexandra, just listening to President Trump saying he's sure this summit is going to be a great success. What, for you, would make a successful summit?
First, thanks for having me here. I think diplomatic pageantry aside, it's going to be important to see actual concrete binding steps towards reducing North Korea's nuclear weapons program and the threat that that poses to the region. We have to actually start getting into the details of what a deal might be.
What are those details? What are the specifics, Alexandra?
I think we've heard rumors that perhaps Yongbyon is on the table as a possible concession that the North Koreans might make, but we haven't heard the actual terms of what that would be. Would international inspectors be allowed inside? Would this be a permanent shuttering of the facility there? Are they going to allow us access to possible other sites around the country? So all of these really substantive technical details have yet to be worked out. So while we should all be supporting a diplomatic solution here, we're going to need to see a little bit more substance and a little less ceremony.
Alexandra, is it possible to know right now what the exact nuclear threat is from North Korea?
Well, we have intelligence sources, both domestic here in the United States and internationally gathered about what we believe the North Korean program to be. We certainly will not take the North Koreans' word on the sites that they might be willing to put out. We're going to have to get inspectors on the ground, whether they be from the IAEA or other international sources or U.S. sources, to actually verify those claims. This is sort of at the heart of any arms control agreement. You don't trust necessarily, you trust and verify.
And is a permanent end to testing meaningful, or have they learned everything they can from the 5th and 6th tests that they conducted?
Yeah, unfortunately, they can still produce and manufacture nuclear weapons based on what they've learned from the testing program so far. So while I'm glad to see that they're not testing nuclear weapons or missile systems right now, we need to really codify those particular concessions. For example, North Korea joining the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty would be a first step in the idea that North Korea is really serious about rolling back this nuclear program.
And if you get the experts, the scientists, the specialists involved in the process now on both sides, how is it possible to establish trust?
Well, you do it through the iteration of steps and implementation of a deal. You make commitments, you implement those commitments, rinse and repeat. We've done this before. We are capable of making a comprehensive nuclear deal. I think we actually made a pretty good one with the Iranians a few years back. Many of the same technical experts are going to be asked to form a deal with North Korea. So as long as President Trump is empowering the technocrats in the U.S. and Chairman Kim is directing his national security staff to work with the Americans, we are capable of making a deal. We're going to need to make sure that other relevant players in the region are also involved, most importantly our allies, South Korea and Japan.
Alexandra, good to have your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us from Washington.
Thanks for having me.
It's all about intent here in Hanoi, Yelda. Everyone looking very closely to see whether or not Kim Jong-un is actually serious about one day completely abandoning his nuclear arsenal. And we may get some indication from his comments on that tomorrow. And of course, Chairman Kim is after some sanctions relief from Washington as well, so he can deliver the growth that he's promised his people. And we'll see he'll be looking to see from President Trump about whether or not he's serious on delivering some of those promises. So we will not only be looking at the personalities of these two men tomorrow and what they say, the warmth and chemistry between them aside, it's those concrete proposals and also the intent behind their words that people will be mulling over.
Lucy, thanks so much. And of course, we will be hearing much more